Hello everyone. Today I want to share with you my top 3 tips for how you can be a better communicator, whether you're on a stage, in a boardroom, or just talking one-on-one with a colleague or a family member. Nothing causes more anxiety than having to give a presentation to a group of people and having to express something that's really important to you. There's a lot at stake, right? You're trying to make a sale. You're trying to convince somebody of an idea that you have, and so there's a lot at stake when it comes to the outcome of that. Another source for anxiety is the fact that audiences are so unpredictable. You get up in front of them and you give a presentation, and you're wondering, do they like me? You're wondering why some people are tuning out. Are they listening to me? Do they disagree? Are they pushing back? All these things come into our minds and creates anxiety when it comes to presentations. And truly, some of us are filled with anxiety just because we're inexperienced. We don't get up in front of people often enough, and so the very few times that we do, it just scares us to death. So today I want to give you my top 3 tips for how you can be a better communicator. Whenever I'm coaching somebody about communication, I always ask them, what do you want? And I get a variety of answers. A lot of people will answer, I just want to get through it. I've got to get up in front of my colleagues and my boss and give a presentation, and I am scared to death and I just want to get through the thing. Some people say I want respect. Some people say I want a sale. Some people say I just want them to listen. Some people answer and say I want respect and recognition. Whatever their reasons for getting up and talking in front of a group of people, most people make the mistake of believing that if they just get up and say it, it's enough. But just getting up and saying it isn't good enough. Your ideas are only as good as the actions that follow your communication of those ideas. If your communication isn't good, there'll be no action afterwards. And really, isn't that what you want? You want those kinds of results. So just getting up and saying it isn't enough. The most successful communicators want engagement. They want their audience to give something back to them while they are giving something to the audience. And they're looking for questions and challenges, disagreement even, pushback, commentary, something so that they know that their audience is engaged with what they're talking about. I am a leadership and business coach, and I talk to people all the time about their communication. In fact, the name of this channel is Leadership Evolution. And by the way, I hope that you'll hit the like and subscribe button because that will help this channel grow. As you can see, it's pretty new, and I really appreciate the love that you give by doing that. Also, if you have any comments about what we're talking about today or any of the other videos that come out, please enter them in the comment section below, and I promise you that I'll get back with you and answer whatever questions you have and engage with you on any comments that you make. I appreciate that. So whether you're on stage, in the boardroom, or talking with somebody one-on-one, here are my top 3 tips for how you can bring about engagement in your communication. Number 1, check your trust battery. People will distance themselves from you if they do not trust you. If you walk in the room and you notice that there's a degree of skepticism before you even open your mouth, or you notice that people are already kind of pushing back on you before you even try to give them your idea, there's something else going on, and it might just be that they don't trust you. It's not them, it's you. Your trust battery is running out of juice. And frankly, my friends, this has to be addressed before you can hope to communicate with them effectively. Now, the term trust battery was coined by Tobias Luke of Shopify and was explained in the book, It Doesn't Have to Be Crazy at Work by Basecamp. I'll put the link to that book in the description below. And if you haven't read it, I wholeheartedly recommend that you do so. But the trust battery goes like this. When you meet somebody, your trust battery is about half full. And the level of trust either goes down or up depending on your actions, depending on whether or not you keep your agreements, on whether or not that you can be counted on to do what you said you would do. The level in the trust battery depends on whether everything you say matches who you are. When your trust battery is full, people will listen to you. Even if they disagree, people will respect you enough to listen to what you have to say. But when the trust battery is drained, everything is wrong and everything is judged harshly. Nothing you have to say will make an impact if your life doesn't match your message. So check your trust battery. A low level of trust may be responsible for the negative reactions you're getting to you or to your message. Now, trust is built with consistent behavior over a long period of time. So check your integrity. Are you in it for yourself? Are you as invested as you're asking them to be? Does what you say match who you are? People can sense when your integrity is off, and nobody will follow duplicity. When it comes to trust, also check your competence. Everybody wants to be on the winning team. And as soon as they sense that you don't know what you're doing, they're going to want to get off the train. And a lot of times people don't trust you because you don't know what you're talking about. So one of the best ways that you can build trust is to become an expert in your field. Know exactly what you're talking about. Do your research. Know your stuff. Do your due diligence. Consult with other people. And be honest about what you don't know. Trust is built when you are consistent over a long period of time. So check your integrity and check your competence. If you're getting up in front of people and they're already pushing back before you even open your mouth, it might be that they don't trust you. The second tip that I have for you, if you want to improve your communication skills, is to say it in as few words as possible. Now, I'm going to say more about this in the next video that comes out. But for now, I want you to know the studies have shown that the less you talk, the greater the impact on your listeners. When you think about it, from the Gettysburg Address to the TED Talks that you listen to today, great communicators know that great things are said in very few words. The more words that you use, the less clear and the less memorable your message will be. Now, here's a mistake that a lot of inexperienced communicators make. They believe that the more they talk, the more weight their message has. And so they stand up in front of their audience and they give a lot of details and they bring in a lot of data and they tell a lot of stories and they bring in a lot of examples. And somehow the thinking goes, if I can just impress everyone about all of the scientific research and all of the data and all of the work, the hard work that I put into this talk, if I can impress everyone with that, then my message will carry more weight. The reality, friends, is that the exact opposite is true. The less you say, the more weight your message will carry. So the more words you use, the less clear and the less memorable your message will be. Another thing that I've noticed in coaching communicators is that the more someone talks, the less they understand their subject. Now, here's the deal. A lot of us are verbal processors, which means we tend to try to understand things in our heads by talking it out. And the mistake that we often make is we wait until we're standing in front of an audience to process something verbally so that we can crystallize it in our minds. The more words that you have to use on a subject, the less you probably understand the subject. Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. So discipline yourself to speak succinctly and you'll have their attention. By the way, here's a pro tip. When you're communicating to executives, and the higher someone is in an organization, the more this is true, executives want the headline. They don't want to have to sift through all of your words and paragraph after paragraph to try to figure out what it is you're trying to say. So give an executive the headline and then offer them the details later if they want to go through it. That's a little pro tip. So if you want to learn how to say something succinctly and to say something meaningful in as few words as possible, let me give you some ideas for how you can work on that. Number one, focus your prep work. Ask yourself, what do I want? And then discipline yourself to be able to state what you want in 1 or 2 sentences. How does what you have to say benefit your audience? Discipline yourself to say that in 1 or 2 sentences. What's the headline of your talk? Create a Twitter-friendly headline of 140 characters or less. When you can work at that and you can discipline yourself to do it that way, you're learning to speak and to think succinctly, and your communication and the effectiveness of it will go right off the charts. The second thing that I would say when it comes to saying things in as few words as possible is to emphasize the headline. What is the headline? What is it that you want people to know, to believe, to take away, to think about, to do? That's your headline. And when you get up to talk to somebody, whether it's on a stage in front of lots of people, or whether it's in a boardroom with a few people, or whether it's even just, you're talking to one person, know your headline. And then when it's your turn to talk, start with the headline, emphasize the headline, and end with the headline. Let all of your details and all of your examples and all of the data support the headline. If your audience leaves and forgets something, let it be that they forgot some of the details. Do not let them leave forgetting what your headline is. And finally, when you're learning to talk in as few words as possible, be brief. No one ever complained that a talk was too short. If you're talking on stage in front of a large audience, keep your presentation to 18 minutes or less, like they do in the TED Talks. The smaller the group, the more interaction you want. And so you want to be brief, because being brief allows space and creates room for interaction with the people that you're talking to. My third tip for how you can significantly improve your communication is to replace defensiveness with curiosity. When you're attached to an outcome and you believe that you are right, your communication will come off as defensive and closed. And this creates an energy that repels audiences. Now, you have something to say, or you wouldn't be leading the meeting. And you put a lot of work into what you're going to say, and with that work comes a measure of pride. And by the way, you should be proud of your presentation. There's no question about that. And taking things personally leads to defensiveness and causes tunnel vision, where you think that you're the only one in the room and you're backed into a corner and it's you against the world. And you'll never engage or persuade an audience with that kind of mindset. So when I coach people, I always remind them that you do not have to be married to your idea. Your self-worth shouldn't depend on the way people receive your message. And if this mindset of defensiveness and combativeness describes you, I would recommend that you go back to working on yourself before you try to influence other people. Now, on the other hand, if your mindset is curiosity, you're going to be engaging your audience with a much different energy. You want to know how they think and how they're receiving your message. You want to know who's buying in and who's not buying in and why. You'll be curious about how your message is relevant to them. You'll watch for their body language and their facial expressions. You'll learn to interpret the tone of their voice, because you realize that this talk is not only about you, it's also about them. Remember, engagement is the goal, and curiosity is a great way to get there. So, how do you significantly improve your communication on stage, in the boardroom, or one-on-one? Check your trust battery, because they have to trust you before they'll engage with you. Say it in as few words as possible, because succinct means memorable. And replace defensiveness with curiosity, because the energy in the room depends on you. I hope that this video has been helpful to you. Please leave your comments and your questions in the section below, because I love to engage with people around this idea of communication. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.